Okay, everyone, we are back to talk about Justice League. So, just another reminder this is going to be full on spoilers for the new movie that just came out. If you don't want to be spoiled, please stop listening. I guess we should just kick it off with what everyone thought of the movie, general impressions.
I thought it was pretty good. It was perfectly acceptable. It wasn't like great, and it wasn't bad, but it was good.
I thought it was good too. I liked it more than the other movies that have been put out for the DC EU.
I have some problems with some of the extremes that went with certain characters, but I think it's a good time, and I kind of liked it. It kind of felt like a Justice League cartoon in ways that even the Marvel movies don't feel like cartoons all the time.
You mean the best part of the movie when like Superman and the Flash were trying to rescue people, and the Flash pushed the truck, and then Superman was carrying a building above his head?
Yeah, like I thought that worked, even though it was like way goofy.
Yeah, but it worked, and it was my favorite part of the movie.
Their stuff was pretty good, but it wasn't the best part. The best part was right after the end of Superman coming back to life and beating up on Batman. Batman rolls over and says, "Yep, something's definitely bleeding." I laughed very loudly.
I thought that at best it was just meh. Like, it was definitely better than Batman v Superman, but it was not as good as Wonder Woman.
Oh, definitely not as good as Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, Wonder Woman. Yeah, I put Wonder Woman over this, I think.
Well, so like I rewatched Wonder Woman recently for the second time, and I was actually bored watching it, and that's like a sensation I get frequently with like Marvel movies. Right, I think they're great and I really like them, but when I watch them the second time, I'm like I'm not that interested. But this movie, just like for some reason, I kind of want to rewatch it. Like I have an urge to go back in the theater and see it again, which is like rare. I don't know if it's just because like it was so cartoony, or maybe because it was just so short. We should mention this is 2 hours long, which is still a long movie, but as far as comic book length goes, it was fucking brief.
I didn't think that it felt like 2 hours though. It felt faster to me.
Yeah, like when they were going to the final battle, I was like, oh wait, this is gonna be it, right? There's not gonna be anything else besides this. So like, I was kind of bummed, but I was also kind of relieved.
I felt like it was meandering, and almost to the point where it felt schizophrenic, and I felt like it was kind of directionless.
Well, there's a lot of reasons behind why you probably felt that way. Like,
Well, I think it was way more focused than Batman versus Superman.
No, totally.
I think there was a lot of stuff cut out, and this felt like a super streamlined movie in comparison to the other Zack Snyder movies.
But I still don't feel like it was. I still don't feel like it was a well-made movie.
Is it two okay movie combined into one?
I There are so many different.
Or one mediocre movie with one okay movie combined into one.
No,
like,
it's not even that it feels like two. I mean, it's just like they kind of. It feels like they wander through these plot points for like almost no reason, and to the point that it just some of it just it doesn't feel coherent to me.
yeah. So like a lot of the scenes were going to be a lot longer, and there was a lot more stuff with each of the characters. Like they shot scenes with William Dafoe, that was going to be in the Aquaman stuff because William Dafoe plays an Aquaman character. But in that scene where Aquaman goes into like Atlantis, he just briefly talks to Mira, dodges an axe on the water, and then that's kind of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought that was one of the scenes that I thought actually was very straightforward and made a lot of sense.
Well, theoretically, in a Zack Snyder version, that scene could have been a lot longer and had a lot more characters. And
that would not have
maybe
made it better.
maybe it made it less sense. We don't really know.
yeah, every character I think was gonna have. Well, not every, but like Cyborg and the Flash were gonna have flashbacks.
Oh yeah, there's trailers where you could briefly see Iris in the background.
Yeah, and I've seen like deleted scenes of him saving Iris. Like he pushes his finger against the window, and then it busts out, and then he goes and saves her from a hot dog truck.
Yeah, so
and there was like Cyborg flashbacks where he was a football player.
yep.
Yeah.
So this was going to be, make no mistake, this was going to be an epic. it was gonna be an epic where they're going to like really try and build upon all the characters and show them all come together and save the universe. But they kind of just made it, like we mentioned relative media in the previous podcast. Mike kept on harping that it's like Saturday morning cartoon, which is kind of like the best compliment you could give this movie, because it's like, it's not very complicated, but if it reaches any type of fun level that a Saturday morning cartoon has, then that's probably good for it.
See, that's like the I only really of the characters, aside from Wonder Woman just being Wonder Woman, who I feel like they should have. I feel like she was the strongest of all of them. But I felt like the most fun was definitely the Flash.
I've read that a lot of people like Cyborg,
and I
really like Cyborg.
Yeah, Cyborg was probably a close second to both of those. So what it really made me want was a Flash movie and a Cyborg movie.
Yeah, I think they will work well together.
Like, specifically, I like the actor who played Cyborg because I didn't recognize him at all. I thought his portrayal was really good.
Yeah, Ray Fisher, he's really cool, actually. If you see interviews with him, he's a nice boy.
Yeah, I'd watch a Cyborg movie. But we're getting an Aquaman movie, right?
Yep, that's I think it's already filmed, and I think it's like in post-production.
But I think Aquaman wasn't in this movie enough. Like, it felt like he was an afterthought. Like, he kind of just showed up. Like, Batman was trying to recruit him and failed, and then he just showed up kind of out of nowhere. He didn't really have that much to do in the movie.
If you look at it mechanically, like, okay, what thing did they accomplish in the film? The only thing he did that nobody else could have done is stop the water when they're underneath Gotham Harbor.
Yeah.
But like the Flash was kind of integral to almost all the fight scenes. Cyborg was pretty much a MacGuffin to the whole film, so he was integral. Batman and Wonder Woman, obviously. So yeah, like, and people are actually talking up Aquaman a lot. Like, he stole the show, but I agree that he was.
I don't feel absolutely. That at all.
He was kind of underutilized.
He was.
I liked him,
he was hammy. And
yeah,
like too much.
He was also. This sounds awful, but like, why did they make him black?
Wait, Aquaman is more?
Yeah, with his lines, all his comments.
I took him more as like a dude, bro.
Yeah,
If he was expecting this whole thing to be like at a frat house.
Yeah, I didn't really get like ebonics or anything or like that from him.
Well, definitely surfer, bra.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. He's Aquaman.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally tubular.
So, I think like a lot of problems people will have with like what you guys are talking about, like characters not getting enough screen time or we don't get enough out of them, is because of all the cuts. I assume they cut a lot of the intros to people like Aquaman or Cyborg or even the Flash.
I kind of think that's good though. I think that streamlined the movie and made it way more cohesive than it would have been.
It definitely rounded off the edges, but like it also made those characters more shallow and we didn't get enough out of them.
It's just this movie isn't bloated the same way Batman vs Superman is.
Well, Batman vs Superman is bloated because of the plot as well and the storyline that they wanted to tell. If you watch the Ultimate Edition of that, you can see what they were going for and the story, and then it is way too bloated, just like the story that they wanted to tell.
See, I think
there's almost no story because it's so simple.
Do you think like in the original version of this movie, like Superman was going to be like confused and fighting them longer, and then it's not till the very end of the movie he would have snapped out of it?
God, that would have been interminable.
He might have even been recruited by Steppenwolf.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He was going to be working with Steppenwolf.
If anything, Steppenwolf might have revived them instead of like the good guys, and he would have been like, "Look, this is your kingdom. Like, help me conquer it." And he's like, "Okay." And then at the end, they bring out Lois Lane, and he's like, "Oh wait, I'm Superman."
But I think this is the best portrayal of Superman since like
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah,
it is fucking eerie. I will say. I liked it, but it's fucking eerie seeing Henry Cavill. Like what was the line he did when he appeared in the final battle? It was like,
is this guy still bugging you? Well, still having trouble here?
he said like I like truth, but I'm also partial to justice.
Something like that.
Or
Yeah.
something like that. First of all, it's a very Joss Whedon line. Like, if Joss Whedon didn't write that, I'll be fucking shocked. Second of all, like it worked, but like it was like kind of crazy seeing him be Superman and not like Zack Snyder's Superman.
It was the best portrayal of his Superman, which basically is a mission of Zack Snyder's failure.
Did you notice how bright the suit was?
Okay, yeah, so that's another thing I want to talk about. You could tell with reshoots they decided to not go with Zack Snyder's original, color palette.
Oh yeah, like in one of the scenes, like the scene where Superman gets brought back and and then all of the heroes show up. In the trailer, that scene is night, and in the movie, it's day.
Yeah, and then so I think the Red Letter Media pointed this out too, but those costumes they were designed to work in Zack Snyder lighting and color palette, and so in regular lighting and more bright color, more brighter lights, it looks a little silly.
I think the Superman suit looked way better in this, though.
The Batman suit.
Yeah, the Batman suit looked weird.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like the movie failed in one respect. When Batman was like, bring out the big guns, and then he brought out Lois Lane, to convince Superman, he should have brought out Martha and said, look, it's Martha, and then that could have triggered Superman.
Oh my god. Oh jeez.
They failed, and then they're never going to recover from this.
Well, they need to give Amy Adams something to do, because they don't have anything for Lois to do in these movies. It's the same problem they had in the Thor 2 movie where who was Thor's girlfriend? Yeah. It's like you wanted to tie Thor to Earth. So like you made him have a human girlfriend, but then like you're always constantly having to deal with like here's a human that's a fish out of water who's always a damsel in distress and doesn't have anything to do. By the way, Amy Adams, holy crap. They gave her the worst fucking wig I've ever seen in reshoots. Her hair looked fucking crunchy.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm bad with hair and stuff like that. Like I could see someone every single day and they cut their hair and I wouldn't notice.
My wife and I are very sensitive to that kind of stuff. So that also, like you mentioned, Superman's CGI upper lip. What the fuck?
Oh, did you notice his whole face in that opening scene with the cell phone footage?
Yeah, my wife was like, "What is wrong?
Weird.
Is something wrong with this?" And I had to explain to her at the beginning. I was like, they had to CGI out his mustache.
I've read that they wanted to just have him shave, and then they were going to pay to add the mustache back in Mission Impossible. But then Paramount was like, "No, that's not happening."
They're probably right to do that because their movie would have been fucked up.
Apparently, it's way easier to add hair to something than take it away.
Yeah, it's way easier to have like a fake mustache, and there are plenty of good-looking fake mustaches. But
they should. Sorry, they should have added a whole beard to him. Then he grew a beard while he was in the casket.
He should have had the long-haired Superman
with the black suit.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe he did at one point in the storyline when Steppenwolf revived him, gave him a black suit.
Okay, so here's the other thing: you bring up Steppenwolf, and it's like I am reasonably familiar with a lot of the villains, and it's like I have never heard of Steppenwolf.
So I'm a huge fan of Darkseid storylines in like the DC cartoons and stuff, and I didn't know Steppenwolf was.
Yeah, Steppenwolf did name drop Darkseid though.
Well, in the Old Gods and New Gods.
And also, there was a Green Lantern in this movie.
Yes, oh god, yes.
But there was the actual fucking original Green Lantern in the movie. That was crazy to see. And then there was a Space Green Lantern as well.
Oh, Alan, what's his name?
Yeah, Alan Scott, maybe?
Yeah, there we go. That sounds right.
Well, like, I'm pretty sure that's what that was, because it was a Green Lantern with a cape. And then they showed, like, a Fishman Green Lantern who got killed, and his ring flew away. And they showed a bunch of... That might have been Zeus shooting lightnings, or that might have been the Wizard Shazam.
It was Zeus, because that was credited as Zeus in the credits. I was looking at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ares was in there as well, but I didn't notice. I couldn't pick him out.
That was honestly pretty awesome. I kind of wish the movie had more of that, like just winking and nodding.
Do you think there'll be a Justice League 2?
Well, aren't they going to get rid of Zack Snyder? So
Yeah, they brought in Joss Whedon though.
Okay, so I think there will be a Justice League 2, but considering that they're making so many fucking spin-off like Batman things and other things, I don't know. The entire DC extended universe is a fucking mess. It's a hot mess.
Well, they're doing Aquaman and then Wonder Woman 2.
But then they're doing all these movies that are outside of the extended universe. They're supposed to be like, standalone films, which is fine because DC is known for doing a bunch of
Is
different versions of
Shazam
everything.
set in the DC?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Black Adam?
Yep.
Okay, because those are 2 movies, right?
Yep. For now, I kind of getting the feeling they might combine them. But like, Jeff Johns is the one in charge of the actual like creative now.
Well, it must be a fucking mess trying to wrangle everything and then having to fight the studio. See, that's the thing I want to talk about. I don't necessarily need to talk about the movie that much. And I know like we're bringing up a lot of things we've got problems with. I still like the movie. I'll give it like maybe a B+.
Yeah, that's about right. I don't think it was as good as Thor.
Oh no, Thor is fucking A+ for me.
I kind of like better than Thor personally, but I have character biases.
Yeah. I would probably not go higher than a B-. It just did not do it for me. The characters that were featured extensively in this were not really characters that I particularly cared about.
I will say I did not like Batman.
No, I think Ben Affleck is the second worst Batman that I've ever seen.
I thought he was a better Batman in Batman versus Superman.
I think he was a horrible Batman in Batman v Superman.
No, okay, I like Ben Affleck, and I think the reason that it's a mess here is because this is supposed to be an extended universe movie, and then this movie ignores a lot of build-up and setup from Batman v Superman. And my wife was going nuts about this, but you know how at the end of Batman v Superman, they have the coffin scene, and then the little pebbles rise at the very end?
Yep.
My wife's like, what the fuck was that about? But he's like actually dead, so like, why didn't they connect that?
Well, he might not have been full dead. He might have been in a
Yeah, but they don't explain that. They just,
Yeah,
Well,
they
they mention that you say, well, we don't know what he is. We don't know that he's dead. Batman does say that in the movie.
I don't think it was good of an
very
explanation.
briefly. Like
Yeah.
it's super hand wavy. Like that whole stuff is like super like, hey, we don't give a fuck. We need to bring Superman back. Let's do it.
I did like the scene when they were fighting Flash, and then his eyes turned to look at him.
That whole sequence of that fight Superman was actually kind of fantastic. It was kind of grounded. Like it wasn't CGI roots everywhere. It wasn't like weird purple sky everywhere. It was just them kind of fighting Superman, and like the choreography of it, if you call it that, was really like interesting.
Did you like how they treated Superman as like the super OP superhero, where he just shows up and instantly defeats the bad guy?
I didn't like that, actually.
Well, the tension was completely gone the second he showed up.
Yeah,
exactly.
And like he struggled so much in like Batman v Superman fighting
Batman or
Doomsday.
Doomsday.
He struggled fighting Zod as well. So was he weaker in Man of Steel, or was Zod stronger than Steppenwolf? Hard to imagine.
Well, but Zod was another Kryptonian.
Yeah, I guess the Kryptonians are just stronger.
I will say, like the portrayal of Superman in this one was so much more likable than the previous movies. Like,
and they like listened to the criticism of like Man of Steel finally, where it's like they were killed so many civilians, and it's just like he's like, I'm fighting this bad guy. Oh wait, civilians are in trouble. Gotta go.
Well, and then like if you look at the beginning where they're like when they first introduce Wonder Woman in to the movie, and it's during that heist, and it's like saving all those, and she's like deflecting all those bullets in front of the civilians, stuff like that. I mean, it's fine.
But Totoro, I hear that stuff about this movie annoyed you.
So what really annoys me is, and I'm not trying to start beef, but what really annoys me is I feel like from what I read, what I read some people say on Twitter, it seems like that if you don't absolutely like if you have anything constructive, or if you don't have, if you have anything that you feel like negatively about this movie, or you don't like this movie, that it's somehow like some bias against DC and Zack Snyder. That it's there were like you were somehow fanboying for Marvel, and I feel like that's incredibly short-sighted and divisive, and it kind of creates something that's not there. And I know people are trying to hit on like Rotten Tomatoes for like somehow they have some bias against DC and Zack Snyder.
I'd say the opposite is true with Rotten Tomatoes. They have bias in favor of it
Because
because
Warner
they waited
Brother
to put up
owns
the Rotten Tomatoes score, and Warner Brothers owns it.
30% of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So it's like your argument doesn't compute. It's like I don't understand why people are so insistent on driving that narrative. And it annoys me like to an irrational degree.
Here's what I feel. With this movie, people take the fucking kitty gloves off, and they criticize the upskirt shots with Wonder Woman, which they are in this movie. They criticize the butt shots with Wonder Woman, which they are in this movie.
What? Really?
Yeah. People are going in hard on like certain sexist things in this movie, which they are because it's a comic book movie. Like these are in all these comic book movies, and like I feel like none of these comic book movies are like high art. If that's a cop out to just compare everything to high art, but like like when it comes to Marvel movies, I feel like people are okay with just having fun. But certain critics, obviously not all critics and not all audience members, when it comes to DC movies, like okay, it's time to fucking judge this movie. Fairly actually. Like I think all these reviews are they watch the film and they're giving their opinions, so that's 100% fair. But like I definitely think they go softer, and it's not like a conspiracy, like a money thing, like they're bought out. It's just like these films are less likable. They're less likable for multiple reasons, because they look ugly, because they're more pretentious, and like the Marvel movies, they're just good times. So like from their perspective, like why would you show up to a kid's party and criticize the clown's makeup or something like that, right?
Well, but if the clown shows up and it looks like fucking Pennywise, then I think that's a completely valid criticism.
The thing is that he looks like Pennywise on the Marvel films as well. Is what I'm saying. Like there's nothing that different between these films besides people's taste, of course.
Well, but it kind of goes back to what you said about the Marvel movies being more likable. It's like if I can completely understand that. So I think it's a valid. It's like it's yeah. If you've got a clown that shows up to one, and it's a kind of a normal, regular kind of happy-go-lucky clown, and then you have Shakes the Clown show up immediately afterwards, then I think that if these are not one-to-one things, if one is more, as you say, likable, then I think that kind of illustrates the point.
And do you think people are harder on the DC movies because of the Nolan Batman trilogy? Like because those movies were like serious movies, so they go in.
Okay, so I was thinking about this, like why are people giving Nolan movies a pass and Zack Snyder movies not a pass? And my conclusion is this: Christopher Nolan makes smart movies.
He makes quality movies, yeah.
Yeah, it's not about like how dark they are, like the dark tone you're going for. They're smart. I don't think Zack Snyder makes smart movies. I actually think Zack Snyder is pretty bad. And I think this is just like a general reflection of Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder might be one of the best examples of a filmmaker who frequently like misses the plot of his own like themes, and like misses and like can't stick the landing. He has like a bunch of interesting ingredients and kind of bold ingredients, something that maybe other filmmakers didn't think of using, but he doesn't. I think using well.
I think his action scenes are really good. Really, really good. He shoots really good action that's exciting to watch and interesting. But if you think about good Zack Snyder movies, the good ones that he's done, he was not in charge of the story. He was just doing like the action and all like the interesting things around it.
Or he was adapting something that's already been done. Yeah,
That already has a lot of source material that is already iconic and interesting. Specifically like 300 and all of those scenes, like taken straight from the comic.
Well, I think here's if I was going to break Zack Snyder down into how I see it, and you can tell me that I'm oversimplifying this, or that I'm off, that I'm missing the mark, which is fine. I think Zack Snyder thinks that he's Stanley Kubrick, but he's actually Michael Bay.
I think Michael Bay is actually better.
I see what you're saying, and I think I agree with you to an extent. I don't think he has that high of a opinion of himself. Yeah, but I do think he's overreaching his capabilities, right?
I think he's overly ambitious for what he can do.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to get at, or that he thinks that he can make a better, smarter movie than he actually can.
I mean, I like his Dawn of the Dead remake a whole bunch. I think it's really good.
I think that's the best movie he's ever made that I've seen. Granted, I always preface any discussion of my opinion of Zack Snyder's movies as I have not seen 300.
300's all right.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, but I have like serious issues with Watchmen.
I think though that like the Joss Whedon scenes in this movie are really easy to pick out. It's just so tonally different than the Zack Snyder style.
I feel like I can see why people say like it feels like it's two movies, but and I can see why they say like it's tonally like it's like Whiplash.
Well,
in general, it just felt like a director like that was like really good at action and then had some fun, and they rounded it out enough. You know, they shaved off all the harsh issues enough so like it felt cohesive, at least to me.
This is not that different from after Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, they fucking cut a lot of shit out, added a bunch of like wacky shit, but then at the end, we're left with this film that's actually kind of fun, and you're like, are we better off with what they cut? Because this was going to be a pretty grim, dark movie.
I would add that the Suicide Squad, when they did the theatrical cut, they did not stick the landing. Like that did not make a good product, and this one actually made kind of a good product.
I wonder how much money this movie is going to make, because so far it had a smaller opening than Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it was like it's fluctuated from where they were hoping that it would make at least 100 million, and it's not going to hit that. It's almost going to hit that, but it's not going to quite hit that.
I think foreign markets are less judging, and I think they show up for the actual brand. You know, like
I don't think this movie is going to lose money or anything.
Yeah, so I think it's possible that this might do really well in the long run, but it's still a failure, like a bloody nose, for it to be a Justice League and not be like the biggest fucking movie ever
of the year.
Yeah,
it's not even the biggest DC movie this year.
I think like the Warner Brothers guys, like I read somewhere that they're like, Thor beat it, and that's just like some C-list character beat Justice League.
I mean, that's my perspective.
I really hate that how they look at it like that, because they're the
competition.
Well, no, I know, but they're also the ones who are fucking it up. The fact that they mandated a 2-hour length for this movie, I feel like fucked with it a little bit.
Well, Higgins was saying on Twitter that like they should have just fired him or fired Zack Snyder if they weren't gonna let him complete his thing. Because, and I kind of agree with that. Like either get rid of him or let him do the thing he was gonna do and let it like stand on his own. You know, like you may not like it, but at least it's like it's a complete trilogy. It's a complete like little.
When you're putting that much money into something that you're gonna like let, you know, with the possibility of letting it die on a hill, they can't. It's too much money invested. So
it's possible we will get. It's possible we will get like a Zack Snyder cut, because his movie was completely finished, right? And then they brought in Joss Whedon.
I think he did leave at the very end of production of filming.
I want to see his original vision. I would personally like to see his original vision for a lot of these things.
I definitely would. I would like to see, unless they just cannibalize the footage they shot for this and put in like an Aquaman, or put the Flash stuff in the Flash film they eventually make. But I would like to see all this film or stuff to film.
I really wanted to see the original cut of the Suicide Squad without all that bullshit. Like, wasn't it done by like the people who cut the trailer? Cut
the trailer house.
Thing? Yeah, it's come on.
it's.
I feel like the problems with this movie would not are not as such that making it longer in any sense would make it better. I feel like there are definitely sections that would need to be wholesale rewritten.
Yeah, that's what I say when I say Zack Snyder is not like a good director. With like, he's not good. Like his vision of the DC universe.
He's not. I don't think he's a bad director. I just don't think he's the best writer.
Yeah, definitely not the best writer. And like this, they're trying to course correct so hard from like what Zack Snyder wanted to do, starting with Suicide Squad and now this movie. I mean, people are praising this movie, but all the praise that goes into this is because this is very much like the Marvel way.
Yeah, like they copied it. They copied Marvel a lot, and they've made it a lot more enjoyable.
They're still doing the Batgirl movie, right?
Yeah, so unless they fucking shut everything down right now, which I don't think they will.
It's hard telling. I wouldn't. I don't know.
So like this movie was gonna have a lot more ties supposedly to Darkseid and stuff like that, but they took all of that stuff out and they just made it Steppenwolf.
Yeah, it feels like all like how they're trying to keep building like, oh, we need more setup for the next movies, need more setup for the next movies. They cut out all the connections to like from the previous movies almost, and like almost no setup for the next movie except for the post-credit sequence.
I think the Legion of Doom is a really smart way to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, because it'll be they need to stick to villains that people are at least marginally aware of. Like if they could have something where I've not read enough DC to really know like who comprises the Legion of Doom, but if they can have something where Luthor and the Joker team up and they kind of get this thing or something like that to where they can do that would be something. Because I think that if you were to stop 100 people on the street and ask them in DC Comics who Darkseid is, I would have a hard time believing that many people would know.
Well, I think the same number of people will know who Thanos is before these movies came out.
Right. Well, I would say that they still don't really.
Yeah.
The casual movie fan for DC, I think they know Batman villains because that's much more recognizable.
Yeah, because we've had 3 different Jokers. And, we've had multiple Penguins. We've had, Catwoman a number of times. We've had a few different Lex Luthors.
Two-Face.
Two-Face.
So the Joker was completely cut out of this movie, right?
Yeah. He was gonna have a cameo role.
How the fuck do you think he originally fit into this?
It was probably the beginning scene when he tracked down the scout or something like that. Because that was the only Batman exclusive scene in the film.
Oh, that was supposed to be the Joker that he was going to be hanging off the roof?
Probably not hanging off the roof like that, but like...
But he wouldn't be scared.
Yeah, he wouldn't be scared in that way, but like he was probably involved in that. Or maybe he was one of Joker's goons, and like he left a goon for Batman.
Bob.
But Batman's like, oh, I don't care. That's all I wanted. I'm Batman.
Why did Batman let that guy go, by the way?
No, he didn't. So I asked my wife about this. I was like, that made no sense that he let that guy go. But my wife was like, oh no, that guy was still tied up.
He didn't. He was just walking around, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was walking around, but his hands were tied up, and he just left them on the roof. So theoretically, maybe he told Gordon he was up there or something.
Okay,
but he didn't. It wasn't like fully addressed.
It was.
So it was a little confusing.
Like I kind of thought they were going to address it. How like the criminal was just talking to Batman. It's like, yeah, this is fucked up, Batman. And Batman was going to be like, what? Stop talking to me.
Or then just do something and like it hangs him up while like he's talking.
Or like
fucked up Batman.
Punch him behind him.
Yeah.
It was a little weird.
Also, we didn't talk about this, but the opening credit roll was so typical Zack Snyder. My eyes were rolling up into the back of my head.
Oh, mine
that
too.
was
yeah.
that was the absolute worst cover. They should have just, if they wanted to use that song, they should have just gotten the original Leonard Cohen version.
Did you see the newspaper cover?
Yeah.
That was so bad. That's what made my eyes roll the most.
Wait, what was that? What was the new? I missed that.
Did they return to their planet and had a picture of David Bowie, Prince, and Superman?
And Prince.
Yeah, it just feels like Zack Snyder shoots something like that opening credit sequence, and he's like, "This is so cool, man! Look at all the cool shit that I'm doing." It just comes out of him trying to fucking like compensate for himself.
He's done a good job once.
I have a feeling that the opening was butchered heavily because Zack Snyder usually starts his film with kind of like a mini introduction. You think of Watchmen and like the comedian fighting Ozymandias. You think of like the beginning of Man of Steel where Jor-El is like escaping with the Codex. You think of Batman v Superman where like it's like the Batman origin. It's kind of capped off with like the Metropolis destruction. You have like these mini little vignettes in the beginning of this film, and I think the one in this film was going to be the flashback to the big battle. I think it was going to start almost like Lord of the Rings films where like long time ago this thing happened, and it was going to be completely self-contained like that. But they kind of cut it up and they put it later on in the film. This is just my theory of like reading what people are thinking and stuff like that. Because it kind of missed that Zack Snyder kind of vignette he always has in the beginning.
I don't know. Really awkward music set to a portion of a film seems to be his MO.
What do you guys think of Deathstroke?
I think he looked great. He looked very comic booky.
I thought he looked weird when he took the helmet off. His hair was too white. It just looked weird to me.
The eye patch seemed awkward and overly designed.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a sort of cyber eye patch or something, but I don't think it is.
And I'm just going to be comparing him to the Deathstroke from Arrow, who was really good.
See, that's the problem with all this. Is that now you've got two Deathstrokes, you've got two Flashes out there.
We're gonna get two Jokers now.
Yeah, we have way more than two. It's how I feel about it.
Yeah, you know, it's just it's. I feel like there's so much about this that's just ill-conceived, and it's just something that I've been kind of complaining about for a long time. So I don't want to do it too much more.
Well, your complaints are legit. Like they fucked up what they wanted to do with their extended universe. In comparison, Marvel has run such a tight ship, and maybe a little too tight in some ways.
Well, up until Inhumans, apparently. Because Inhumans was awful, right? I only watched the first two episodes. And they completely had a misstep with their IMAX release of it.
Well, if you think about it, we're talking about running a tight ship as far as like, especially from creative standpoint. You know, that's the whole reason why Edgar Wright didn't wind up doing Ant-Man.
Yeah, and that was probably a hard decision. Like Edgar Wright probably made a great movie, but they valued the cohesiveness. They valued the cohesiveness so much that they wanted to let go of Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright should make a DC movie.
It's probably work.
He should do a Blue Beetle movie.
I want Edgar Wright to make whatever Edgar Wright wants to make.
A Booster Gold movie.
So, do you guys think that they're gonna try and flashpoint this?
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
So they announced the name of the Flash film as Flashpoint, and Flashpoint is a storyline in DC Comics where the Flash goes back in time to save his mom from dying, because that's part of his origin story. But then it causes a butterfly effect, and it makes it so that he doesn't have powers because his mom never died and he never had the trauma to become the Flash or whatever. And it also basically becomes the mirror universe. Everybody's evil. Wonder Woman and Aquaman are at war. The Amazons and Atlantis are at war, and it's just like a crazy mirror universe. And at the end, when he fixes everything, they used it as a mechanic to retcon up the stuff in the comics, which they can use to retcon in case they want to get rid of Ben Affleck, or in case Ben Affleck wants to leave, or stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think when he did that, like Superman was found by the government as a child, so he's kept in a bunker away from the sun. Yeah, and
one of the big things is that instead of Thomas and Martha Wayne getting shot, Bruce Wayne gets shot, and Thomas Wayne becomes Batman, and Martha Wayne becomes the Joker.
Oh,
So
that's fucking weird.
So and Thomas Wayne in by BVS is played by Negan. So it's almost confirmed that Negan is going to be Batman in this movie. I say almost confirmed because he was, I forget what talk show. Sorry, that's my cell phone. I forget what talk show it was on, but like they asked him about it, and he makes like a stupid face, and everybody starts like laughing and applauding. So like they're seemingly gonna go like whole hog with that shit.
I mean, I would. There's part of me that hopes that of all the movies that they do, that Jeff Johns will be most involved in Flash because of his long run on Flash.
I would hope for Green Lantern.
I would. Yeah, I feel like the two properties that I want to see the most out of them are Flash and Green Lantern. Followed very closely by Cyborg, based on what I saw in this movie. Like, I walked in not really caring about Cyborg as a character, and I came out wanting to see more of Cyborg.
I think they said they're doing a Deathstroke movie, right? Am I crazy?
He was gonna be the villain in one of the treatments of the Batman film, but that has since been rewritten or switched hands so many times that who knows if Matt Reeves still wants him as the villain.
Now, Deathstroke, was that Joe Manganiello?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. If he is in that, then I am certain that I could get my wife to watch that movie because she really likes him.
Yes, there is a Deathstroke movie in the works, and it's from the Raid director.
Also, I can't wait for some real confusion of Slade Wilson versus Wade Wilson.
That's kind of the purpose of the character.
Yeah, that'll be great in Deadpool 3 when he references that.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, guys?
But I think the Raid director is perfect for a Deathstroke movie.
Yeah.
Because Deathstroke is kind of neither a villain or a hero. He's just a mercenary.
Some might say a merc with a mouth.
I mean, he talks.
Not really.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a mouth like Deadpool.
I'm bullshitting now.
So why would he join the Legion of Doom? He's just getting paid, or do you think he has a specific grudge against Batman in this continuity?
I assumed that he was hired by Lex to break him out of prison, and then he showed up there for reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, so I heard a lot of buzz about the post-credit scene, which was setting up the Legion of Doom. And I was disappointed because I was like, oh, is it going to be Green Lanterns? It's like, I kind of set my expectations really high. I really wanted to go like really crazy stuff. So when they cut to the prison and they say, Lex, get out of there. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's a Lex Luthor thing. But it was cool. It was also Deathstroke.
We haven't talked about the mid-credit scene yet.
Which one was that?
Where the
race?
Superman and Flash race.
Oh.
That was a good tone, I guess.
Yeah, I understand, like, that they're saying Flash is still, like, a young upstart, so he hasn't fully mastered his powers yet. But, like, the concept of, like, him going toe-to-toe with Superman is laughable.
Because, yeah, if Superman's better at the one thing he can do, then what's the point of him?
Yeah, well, Superman is so OP in this movie.
Well, I think eventually, like, if you think about it, though, Barry is still, like, I would imagine in this universe, he is still coming into his own as and developing his skills. That's how I took it.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that conversation with Batman, he's like, I've only pushed people and then ran away.
Yeah, so I mean, like, he is not. So basically, he's asked. Superman is as fast as him based on just raw what he has been able to do. So I mean, he could conceivably develop himself to be faster still.
See, Superman sucks because he's way too OP.
Yeah.
Nobody likes someone who's way too OP. What's the point?
I mean, it's the reason why they can't make a good Superman video game.
Isn't Rocksteady supposed to be making a Superman video game?
That's been rumored a lot. We don't know if it's actually true. They theoretically working on fucking something, because last thing they did was the VR thing for Arkham, but I don't think that was the full team. I would flip if they're making Superman.
I would trust them.
Maybe they're making a Green Lantern game.
I would flip them making anything, and I hope that they get a comic book writer, because I think that's what people have pointed out within their stories when they have a good comic book, or when they have a comic book writer, they have a better story.
Was there a comic book writer on Wonder Woman?
No, I'm talking about the Arkham games.
Oh, okay.
But Jeff Johns was partially in charge of Wonder Woman. That was one of the first films where like you see his influence.
Yeah, Alan Heinberg wrote the Wonder Woman movie. He has done. He did a 5-issue arc of JLA with Jeff Johns, and relaunched Wonder Woman following the Infinity Crisis miniseries.
I feel like the best superhero movies have been the ones where the director is heavily involved with the writing.
Well, was that the case with Batman vs Superman?
Man of Steel, yeah. Like this movie came into production right after BVS wrapped up production. So like any reactions they did to this movie to fix things was during production and post production. Like Wonder Woman had a lot better chance. Aquaman has a lot better chance.
Who's directing Aquaman?
James Wan.
Oh,
I bet it'll be alright.
yeah. He could do something good.
Yeah, and that guy from The Conjuring is playing Ocean Master. I don't remember the actor's name, but he plays the husband in the
Patrick
team.
Wilson.
Oh, you mean Owlman from Watchmen?
Oh, it is Owlman, isn't it? I totally forgot that.
Oh, Dolph Lundgren's going to be in this. So is
Sounds
Nicole
pretty good.
Kidman, Willem Dafoe.
And Black Manta is almost certainly going to be in the Legion of Doom. So Ocean Master is going to get killed at the end of this movie, but Black Manta is not going to get killed.
Maybe he'll be arrested and put into ocean jail.
It's just a jail full of electric eels.
That's what the bars are made of.
So I guess they established how they're going to handle underwater. I was thinking, like, are they just going to bloop bloop talk underwater? But I guess not. They can't talk underwater. They have to, like, water
Sign
kinesis.
language.
Yeah, they are sign language or water kinesis, a little bubble and talk. Maybe it's just going to be, like, space where, like, the actual structures are pressurized and they walk into it. It's a big fucking headache to figure out how they're going to do that stuff.
Well, they wrapped filming already.
Yep, must have figured it out.
Is the next comic book movie coming out Black Panther?
Yeah, I think so. And that movie looks badass.
Yeah, that movie looks really good.
I saw a trailer for Black Panther before Justice League. I was really surprised. It's like, really?
Oh, I saw a trailer for this before
Thor, right?
Thor.
Yep, same.
I saw a trailer for Deadpool 2 before this. An edited trailer. It was different than the one that's online.
Oh, it was not the
The
Red
wet on
Band.
wet? I mean, it's
Yeah.
the exact same trailer, but in the online version, he says, "Oh,
Holy
I wish
Falls.
I could." He said, "I wish I could jump in there and roll around in that snow and just get high on life." And then he says, "I really love cocaine." But in this trailer, he just said, "I really love snow."
So when I walked into the theater, they had that Norman Rockwell painting poster up in one of the marquees. I was like, "Oh my god, that is so great!"
Have we said all our thoughts on Justice League?
I have.
I wonder what Higgins will think when he listens to us.
I'm sure we're all banned from something.
I don't know. I think we liked it for the most
No,
part.
I'm
B plus is good.
I take that back. I am banned for life from something.
I don't think it's the thing more about like the entire DC universe, and those are the things I have complaints about more so than like this movie itself and like what the quality of the movie was.
I am looking forward to the Aquaman movie.
Okay.
I like James Wan.
I do.
I'm looking forward to some other stuff more than that.
Oh yeah, there's movies I want to see more than it, but I'm still looking forward to it.
No, I mean even among comic book movies.
Yeah, I want to see Avengers and Black Panther.
Deadpool
2, definitely. That's
Deadpool
probably my
2
most
is like
anticipated.
Yeah, that's probably the top for me.
I want to see the New Mutants.
Let's go ahead and wrap.
Yeah, so we will not be putting out a podcast until the end of the year, and that will be our end of the year discussion with our top lists. So look forward to that. Okay, I want to thank Darfox, Mr. X, and Totoro for being on this week. If you enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe and rate us on iTunes and Stitcher. Send us emails, podcast@alltalkpodcast.com. Send us tweets at alltalkpodcast. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. What's the address?
youtube.com/alltalkpodcast.
Make sure you check out Infinite Binge over on the YouTube channel. Check out Manga Machinations. Our email is manga@alltalkpodcast.com. Our Twitter is MangaMacPodcast. It's Manga MAC Podcast. And our Tumblr is mangamachinations.tumblr.com. And if you enjoyed our podcast, please listen to the other podcasts of the Geekbox Network. That includes The Geekbox, The Comic Conspiracy, Good Job Brain, and The Comedy Button. That wraps up everything for this week. I love you.
I know. See you, Space Cowboy.